Hello and welcome back to the Overcome Yourself podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole, and I'm so excited to be here today with Miss Paula Hickey out in Tennessee. And we actually know each other through our host, the host that I'm always talking about, Lyrica Host. If you want to start a website, definitely the way to go. Definitely check them out. Now, Paula is, among other things, a web designer. And I'm so excited to talk some tech with you today. So, Paula, please take it away. Introduce yourselves. Do a better job of introducing yourself than I did. And let us know who you are. We're so excited to have you.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited. Like you said, my name is Paula Hickey, and I'm a web designer. I live in Tennessee with my husband, Rex, and we got two dogs and a cat. You may possibly hear them today. Hopefully not. And I'm a web designer. I work with business and mindset coaches, and I help them increase their conversions and sales by delivering them a website that gives a fantastic user experience and builds trust with their audience.
I love it. And I know that you are well versed because, apart from, I'm sure, everything you've done, I know Lyrical Host just does such a great job of equipping us and, more importantly, teaching us, empowering us to learn these things for ourselves. I learned so much from them. And having a website is more than just having a pretty website with some nice pictures, right? So I don't
Exactly.
think people really understand the humongous role that user experience plays as part of SEO. So you mentioned that. Can you tell us a little bit about that while we're talking about it?
Yeah, that's actually one of my, sorry, my dog is playing with his, decided to come in here and play with his toys.
No, you're fine. Dogs are welcome. I
Um,
have mine. You might hear him too, so it's totally okay.
one really important part of user experience is accessibility and making sure that your website is accessible as possible for every visitor, including visitors who might have vision or hearing impairments or mobility impairments. So there's things that you can do to make your website more user friendly for accessibility wise, and those things will also help you with SEO because Google also looks at accessibility and certain things in their ranking factors. So those paying attention to those things and including them in your web design and in your website will be good for your users and be good for your SEO. And so I can talk about a few little accessibility things if you want me to.
Go for it. Yes, yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. So the very first tip I always give everybody if you're wanting to make your website more accessible is include alt text on all
Oh,
of your images. You want to make sure that you're describing each image on your website. And I mean, here's how I was told what alt text was for. Maybe you were the same way. That's just place to put your keywords.
mhm, mhm.
That's not what alt text is for. It's actually there to describe the image for screen readers so that they can know what that image is. And maybe not every if an image is specifically just decorative, you don't need to include alt text. But if it's really important to the content and to understanding the content of the page, you for sure want to include that alt text image in there. So that's always my first tip. And I know it can be maybe a little overwhelming to start there. So that might be something you want to hand off to your VA if you have one and have her go through and include those descriptions. Um, Another important tip for accessibility is making sure your heading hierarchy is proper for each page. Like, each page should just have one H1 heading, and that's the title of your page. And then you want to make sure you're using H2, H3, H4 properly. They're not to just decorate images. Those are actually for heading or to decorate, your web site. They serve a purpose, and they help screen readers understand the content and it also helps Google understand your content and what's important in that blog post or on that particular page. Um, Another thing, some other like little design tips is making sure that your text size is at least 18 pixels on desktop and at least 16 on mobile, as that's the new guideline from, well, it's not new, but it's the guideline from Google about what they think is the best for user experience. Because a long time ago or a few years ago, really small text was real trendy, like 10, 12 pixels. Not anymore. You have it at least 18, 16.
Well, That's what we learned in school, right? Is a 12
What
point
was it?
font. Like that's what we learned like in school, right? Is a 12-point font. And then so that's kind of like the standard. So
Yeah.
having you let us know, hey, it's actually 16:18 now. When it comes to, working online, that's a big deal. That's a great tip. Like this is a
Yeah.
very, very informative episode. I love it. I just wanted to point that out. That is awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it,
Thank
I
you for
mean, it
sharing
used to
that.
be that, but things have
Mhm.
changed now. Um, Another tip for accessibility is making sure that the links on your website stand out. So you want to, maybe use an underline, like that's been the standard since
Mhm.
the internet began. Links are, by their underline, or a color that really stands out from the body font, like maybe your accent color. Um, I'm going through a bit of a brand redesign right now, but my accent color used to be pink, so that really stood out from the body text on my website and made my links stand out. That way people know, hey, this is something that I should click on.
Right.
And the same with your buttons. Like you want to make sure that your buttons look like buttons, you know. Sometimes we maybe get a little too creative with them. But if they look like buttons and that they use that consistently throughout your website, so you're kind of training people that this is a button, this is what it looks like, this is what you should be clicking on. And then it doesn't confuse your user either if you're being consistent with the design throughout your whole website. And the same with your forms, like they should look like forms and people know that this is something I should be filling out. And make sure that you have your labels on your form so that screen readers, if someone's using a screen reader, they know that this is what information goes in there. Because sometimes you'll have the option on your form to hide your labels, but I really don't recommend that for user experience. It's better to have the label visible.
That is
I know
awesome.
that's a lot of techie stuff.
No, no, but it's wonderful. It's very foundational things that we can do to really optimize our website for SEO, which is really important for Google to understand what's going on, because if Google, doesn't know what the graphic is, it can't categorize it and show it to people, right? But also
Exactly.
for other people, for accessibility, to make sure, because as business owners, as website owners, like we have to, make sure that everything is accessible to anybody who wants to see
Yeah.
it, to read it, to hear it, to whatever, right? And so I think that's awesome. That's a big deal.
Yeah, we want everybody that comes to our websites to feel welcome and that they can view the content however they need to.
I love it. So let's go back a little bit to you, Paula.
Okay.
How did you how did you get into this? How did you become a web designer? Tell us a little bit about your story and how you overcame yourself to get here, because you're amazing at what you do.
Thank you. So I actually started building websites like in 1999 just for a hobby. Like I taught myself HTML and CSS, and it was just something I just did for fun because I'm a bit of a nerd and that's what I enjoyed. And then around 2010, I got into WordPress, so I didn't have to do as much of my own coding. But that was, and I started got into the blogging community about that same time. And so when I decided that I wanted to start my own business, I knew that I wanted to work with bloggers and help people with their websites because that was something that I was already doing for myself. And I was like, I can do that to help others. Once I realized that, I was like, I want to do this. So I started my own business in 2017 as a virtual assistant. And I was just doing everything. I was very general VA, social media, email marketing, whatever. But I had a client, maybe I think it was 2018, asked me, who do you know who can build me a website? And I said, me, I can do it. And so that's kind of how the web design part started, because I wasn't actually offering it up until that point. And so once a few clients gave me the opportunity to build websites, I knew I was like, this is really what I want to focus on. So it's the main focus of my business, though I do still do a lot of tech, virtual assistants and stuff to help people maintain their websites once they're built.
Right,
And
because it's
um,
it's a lot.
yeah, there's a lot to it. And, for most people, especially since I work with coaches and stuff, like that's not really the best use of their time, maintaining their website and doing all those little doing their integrations and that kind of stuff. That's, I can do that and they can take care of their clients.
Yes. Yeah, there's so many details. There's so many I tell my clients, because I do websites as well sometimes. Um, there's there's so much more to it than just putting together a page. We've got to keep everything updated. We've got to check security. We've got to check for spam. And then all the updates, like there's so much going on. And they're already a specialist. Like you are already really good at what you do. And so every time that a
Exactly.
problem comes up, you don't need to spend 48 hours on YouTube trying to understand the entire math behind it to just figure out this little thing, right? So that's why they hire
Yeah.
some like you or like me to help them with that. So that's amazing. And when it comes to helping coaches with their websites, because I love that you specialize in coaches, because coaches have different needs in their websites than say someone who has an e-commerce business or even
Right.
someone who's a blogger. So can you talk to me a little bit about what makes a coach's website effective? Like what are the things that we really need? Because I find that I come a lot across a lot of coaches and they'll have like 18 pages on their website. And so talk to me a little bit about why they don't need that, because I'm sure that that's one of the things we're going to talk about is simplifying, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of times there'll be stuff on there that they don't really need that really isn't helping them attract their clients or informing their clients about their processes and stuff like that. And a lot of times they're missing things that really are important that can help them connect with those clients. So like as far as like the main pages, like most coaches need, of course, you're gonna need your homepage. And your homepage is just, like an introduction to you and your business and what you have to offer. And they need to have that, about page and your services page. And you might possibly, depending on the types of services they have, they might need more than one service page. Maybe they have a group coaching program and one-on-one coaching. So you might want to separate those because you're going to be attracting two different kinds of people for those two different kinds of mindsets. And then I usually recommend a booking calendar page or a contact page. So, and you don't have to, like, if you don't want to make that public on your website, you don't have to, but you can have it hidden so you can share that link and really make it easy for potential clients or your current clients to book time with you. Those things are kind of necessary. Um, and then, if you have your free opt-in offer, you want to have a page for that. And then, your thank you page for after someone signs up. So you can kind of give them the next steps to what to do after signing up with
Big
you.
deal here. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, take
That's often
advantage.
overlooked. Yes.
Yes, take advantage of those thank you page. Like when somebody says yes to you, when somebody clicks, when somebody submits something, take the opportunity to offer them more. You can offer them another free thing, or you can upsell them something that's going to add
Yes.
value. I love that. And I want to piggyback off of this, of what you were saying and the about page. That's one of my favorite tips for websites. Like I'm going to give you a tip here. Um, for our listeners is adding a call to action on that about page.
Yes.
Most of the entrepreneurs that I work with, the about page is just that. It's just like their picture, their little bio, and that's it. And it's like, no, like let's put in a link there for whatever your call to action is. Work with me, join my group, get my email list, whatever it is, because that's one of the most visited pages on a website. People are like, who is this? What
Yes.
are they about? Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Great tip because that is overlooked a lot. There's so much, but they forget that call to action on the about page. Yes.
Yeah, it's that's what it's about. Like with the coaching websites, a lot of people they have a blog and then they're spending a lot of time writing these articles that nobody's looking at. But like, do you have your calls to action? Do you have a flow of things available? Do you have a system in place that takes your client from being a visitor to being a client, right? Like our websites, they do that. That's what when I say make your website your best salesperson, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is when somebody goes on your website, they're like, this looks interesting. I do want to buy this. Let me input my information. And then, oh, something got delivered to me. I have an appointment set with this person because I bought, and so having those systems in place. Yes, I absolutely love that.
Yes,
Um,
your call to actions are huge, and you just got to make sure that they, are aligned with your business goals. you got to make sure to include them and make sure that they are aligned with what you want the visitor to do on your website. Yes.
Yes. That's a big deal. All right. So I know I had asked you in the questionnaire when we were setting up this appointment about overcoming. So can you tell me a little bit about how you overcame yourself and, how you overcame yourself? I'm going to leave it open-ended.
Okay. So for me, I actually was able to go full time in my business in 2020. But that was also the year of the thank you. That was also the year of the pandemic. So we couldn't go anywhere. So I just really developed a lot of bad habits during that time around the boundaries I had with my business and with my clients. Like I was working all the time, even though I had hours like 9 to 4 or 9 to 5, something like that. I wasn't sticking with them. I would I'd work at night, work till time I went to bed, get up in the morning, start work immediately, working all the time. And then, if a client, even though I'm supposed to stop working around 4, somebody may email me like, hey, can you do this or do that? And even though I was already jam-packed full for that day, I'd be like, sure, I can do that, and end up working even longer. And it wasn't the client that had the bad boundary, it was me. I wasn't saying, okay, yes, I can do this, but I can't do this till tomorrow. When it fit better in my schedule, I would just work over. So I was working all the time. I didn't have any, I wasn't sticking to my hours. I would saying yes to everything, feeling like I had to do it immediately. And I just, I was burning myself out. And, like I said, it didn't help that I couldn't go anywhere either. So that led into it. So when I got into 2021 and I realized that how close I came to burning out in my first year of actually being full time in my business, I was like, something has to change. So I said, okay, I've always said these are my hours. So this is when I'm actually going to work. Come 4 o'clock or around 4, I don't have to be right on the dot.
Right.
4 o'clock, I'm going to stop working. And I'm not going to start work as soon as I get up. I'm going to start it around 9 o'clock, which is what I said my hours are. And so that was the first thing I implemented, was just actually making myself stick to those hours. And so by doing that, that gave me some free time in the morning before I started work to actually like journal, drink a cup of coffee. I also like to pray and read my Bible. So that gave me time to do that. So I didn't feel like I was working all the time, because like I said, I would go to bed, I'd work right up till bedtime, get up and go to work. So that helped with that. And then, actually stopping in the evenings when I said I was going to meant that I could, actually enjoy when my husband got home and we could have supper together. And, it just actually gave me so much more space in my life just by saying, hey, I'm going to work these hours. And then, I started communicating more with clients about, hey, it's 3 o'clock, hey, I'm wrapping up for the day, so I'm not going to do this task today, but I can do it tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon, and just communicating more with them. And they've never had an issue with it. Ever. Nobody's already said, oh, I need you to do that right now. I mean, I have had emergencies pop up. I mean, that happens.
But that's different.
Yeah, that's completely different. So nobody's, they were always understanding, because like I said, the problem wasn't them. It was just me not having good boundaries. It's not sticking to the boundaries that I had set. So that's really, and that's how I had to overcome myself, was my own bad boundaries.
That is amazing. It's such an important lesson. Boundaries are the best. Like,
Yeah.
and learning to set boundaries. And a lot of people I know talk about boundaries with other people, but sometimes, well, really what we have to learn is setting boundaries with ourselves and learning to operate within those boundaries.
Yes.
And like you said, giving yourself permission Because I love that you said, okay, my boundaries from 9 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever it is. It can be, it can be whatever schedule you want, guys. Because like
Exactly.
something I was talking about this morning is like, yeah, sometimes I might get up late for the East Coast, but then if my clients are in the Pacific, I'm always a superhero to them because I'm always working before 9 o'clock, right? Because 12 o'clock here is 9 o'clock over there. So
Exactly.
if if you're just like running a little late, well, I'm just working like on Hawaii time or something. But then giving yourself permission to do those other things, because you could also be like, well, I'm not going to start work till 9 and then just sit on the couch and be like, okay, I'm not working, I'm not working, I'm not
Yes,
working.
that's exactly how I was when I was working.
Yes, but then you're kind of still mentally at work because you're thinking about content. Well, I got to follow up with this person and I can't forget to do this. And let me take a note about that. And so setting up those boundaries and then giving ourselves permission to just like, I'm not there right now.
Yes,
I love that. And that's really a big deal. That's like next level when it comes to overcoming ourselves is really implementing those boundaries. I absolutely love that.
yes.
So tell me, how do we hang out with you online, Paula?
You broke up just a little bit.
Oh, how do we hang out with you? Like online? Like how do we follow you on social media?
Okay. So my website is paulasextonhickey.com. So that's where you'll find all any information you want about how to work with me. And then on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Paula Hickey VA. And that's where I spend most of my time is really on Instagram when it comes to social media.
Okay, awesome. And all of those links are going to be down in the comments or in the show notes, depending on where you're watching this. And then you have a freebie available for our readers, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yes, I do. It's write your client getting website. So it helps lead you through writing out the content for your website and planning all that out before you dive into designing and building your website so that it's ready to go for you. And you'll find that at paulasextonhickey.com/planner.
Awesome. And that link will be available down below as well. Okay, this has been absolutely amazing. I love everything you do, Paula.
Thank
And then
you.
if you do end up going, oh, Lyrica Host, will you share? Do you have an affiliate link for your Lyrica Host?
I believe I actually have a code and it's PSH virtual. And that is the code to get, I believe it's 10% off with localhost.
Okay, perfect. So we will include Paula's affiliate link for Lyrica Host because I'm sure you recommend to everybody as
Oh,
well.
everyone. That's the best
Um,
code.
yes. And so as a Lyrical Host client, when you join the Facebook group, you are going to see a lot of Paula because she's always in there hanging out. She gives some amazing tips. And so I highly recommend hanging out with Lyrical Host always. Like
Yes.
whatever your website is, it's not better than Lyrical Host, I promise. And hanging out in that group. So Paula, before we sign off here, I want to know any last minute tips, like what is your top tip for our listeners? Like what is it that you advise your clients on the most?
Well, we mentioned about the about page, so I just want to give maybe a couple of things that you can always be sure that you include on your about page,
Yes.
to kind of help build trust with your audience. Be sure that you include a little bit about your expertise and why you're qualified to be coaching in the niche that you're coaching in, and that it can be things like certifications and degrees, but it doesn't have to be, right? Life experience, real world life experience counts. So just be sure you're including that. And then if you have any featured in articles, if you've been featured on a podcast, if you've been featured on a guest blog post, something like Forbes or whatever, be sure that you're including those on your about page too. That really speaks to that other people in your niche see you as an authority, and that helps build that trust. And also be sure to include a few testimonials on your about page as well, because social proof, you gotta have it. If you don't have any yet, that's okay. We all start with 0. Work toward getting the social proof and those types of things to add to your about page, but be sure to include them if you have them.
Absolutely. That is awesome, awesome, awesome advice. Like I said, you would not believe how many entrepreneurs I've seen that do not have anything on that about me page. And I'm like, I want you to make more money. Please do this.
Yes. Like you said, it's the most one of the most visited pages on your website. You've got to make the most use
Yes.
of it as that you can.
Yes, because people are nosy. If there's
Yes.
something about us humans, like about everyone, including me, including you, Paula, I'm sure, um,
Yes.
we all, we all have that in common is we like to be nosy. And when we see that about page, we click on it. We're like, let's see who this person is, what they're about.
Yes.
And yeah, and that's how we find our ideal clients and they fall in love with us and they're like, I want to work with you. I want you to help me.
Yes.
So yes, awesome. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Paula. This has just been absolutely wonderful. And we will be following you on social media. So make sure that you follow Paula, go hang out with her on Instagram, go grab the freebie. Say the name of the freebie again because it sounds amazing.
Write your client getting website.
Right? Your client getting website. I'm going to go grab that freebie because I want to check out what you've got to say about it, and make sure that my website is up to par. So make sure you grab that freebie. And if you need a website, if you are ready for an amazing website that is going to be accessible, it's going to be functional, it's going to be converting because it's actually going to help you find clients and it's going to help those visitors become clients. Give Paula a call. I know she's going to do an amazing job helping you out with your coaching website. So again, thank you so much for being here, Paula.
Thank you,
We
Nicole.
will,
I'm so happy to be here.
yes, thank you. And we'll see you on the World Wide Web. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.